Hello, everyone. We are on vlog four. Yes, four. Sorry, I'm adjusting here. Okay. So we're on vlog four, week seven, gender identity and sexual orientation. Um, Once again, it's a lot going on. It's kind of not aggravating, but it's annoying with the fact that we keep talking about all these socially constructed boxes and labels and how students have to develop around these boxes or within these boxes. And I just think it's really it's not unnecessary because these social constructs do occur or they do exist, but it's really frustrating that we as a society are so focused on these little detail on these little titles that we forget to address the actual student. And we want to see, well, are you gay or are you straight or are you black or are you Indian and white and all these other little things instead of just focus on how are you as a holistic person. But that's just my little 2 cents. Back to gender and sexual orientation. I think Catherine, you did a wonderful job of asking questions, which kind of tie back into our actual assignment of really focusing on the case studies. Um, Catherine asked, how would we, as student affairs professionals, or which strategies would we use to assist our students in this positive environment that the jelly thinks is important in the development of lesbian, gay, and bisexual students or individuals as a whole? I do think environment is key in any form of development, whether it be gender or racial. Um, I think that throughout the readings that contextually context or like where the student is at is very important. I think personally as a student affairs profession that having that positive environment is very helpful, especially when students are struggling with something that's so uh, taboo, but that is very different and unique to them as a person. Um, so I think that you have to help these students understand that it's okay, to be different, and that you're gonna have pushback or dissonance in any minority group. Uh, One thing I do think that is important is kind of like what I was ranting on at the beginning is that we have to remember that these are students, these are human beings, these are people. But at the same time, students have to be just as ready and willing to develop as we want them to. And I think a lot of times with gender and identity, it's so scary and it's so taboo that students don't want to talk about it, students don't want to deal with it, and that doesn't allow us for us as student affairs professionals to really understand and how to wrap our minds around how to deal with this. I think one thing that could be helpful that I've seen in like racial identity development and even with articles is that students really appreciate when they can see somebody who is similar to them. So if they see another homosexual or another gay or lesbian professor or faculty or staff, that will help them to feel like, okay, I can make it, they made it. Let me see if I can actually open up and do that. I have a lot of things here. I think safe space is important. I think as a university, shockingly, VSU, the Office of Social Equity, where I work, we do a lead series, and I think that that is one of the most amazing things that our office puts on is those lead series, and particularly the safe space. Um, it opens up dialogue to talk about these things that we normally don't talk about, and I think if more people would actually attend this, they would see the importance and how this can help every day, just little things in life. And I think that our staff and even students don't utilize these as much, but they are there and they are available and they are here. This is a plug for OSC. Please come to our lead series, Safe Space. They're awesome. They're life changing. They're eye opening. They're great. So do that. But I also think that, particularly with minority groups and with sexual orientation, that everyone isn't always going to understand. And this kind of is a play off of what we were talking about last week, the whole idea that dissonance is okay. I think that we have to quit sugarcoating a lot of things, and that it's not going to be roses and flowers and unicorns. You're going to have some pushback, and it's okay. And I think as long as we foster and allow our students to be in these environments where it is somewhat challenging, the whole challenge is support idea, but knowing that everybody isn't going to get along and that everybody isn't going to understand or grow or change like you want them to, um, that is key. I think just being upfront and honest about things like this, because it can be very difficult when you have to start from behind and have to say, well, I'm sorry that things didn't work out, but if a student is prepared to be in these rough and tough situations, they'll be able to better deal with it. So honesty is the best policy, corny, whatever. For me as a student affairs strategy that I would use. It also made me think of one of the articles that we read last week about the whole idea of cultural capital. I think a lot of times we need to understand that cultural capital and be able to use it, and understand that my differences make me unique, and it gives me one up, if you will. It makes me a better, not better, but it gives me a different point of view. And I think showing students and allowing students, particularly in this community, to say, we see you, your views are not dismissed, but you have a distinct or a different point of view that we maybe not have thought about. And instead of sweeping this under the rug or running away from it, like Andrea in the case study, she was kind of conflicted, like, do I want to join and be this advisor, or do I not, because I want to appease other people? And I just think that we, people in general, just need to be confident in themselves regardless of the social constructs that's surrounding them, and just go for it. I think that we have to be willing to lose to gain. And I think a lot of times in student affairs professional, it has to be this right way to do things, but there is no right way when it comes to development. I think it is trial and error. You may be in this stage for a little while, then you may regress. Then you may come back, or you may recycle and repeat a couple stages a couple times. I just think that it's okay to mess up. And I think that we need to encourage our students that it's okay that people don't understand me, or it's okay that I didn't do good in this area. And yeah, what else? I have a lot of stuff on here. Oh, contextual things, and then I'm gonna shut up. I think also when you're dealing with things like racial identity and with gender and sexual orientation, the school that you choose as students, I don't think a lot of times, even in high school or even on freshmen, incoming freshmen, we don't talk to students and say that yes, you want to pick a school that's good for you because we have all these student organizations and we have bomb athletic programs, but you have to understand, like, oh, we're in the rural South and we don't necessarily, I mean, it's a bad part of, you don't want to expose your institution, but at the same time you don't want to mislead your students. And I think that if you have a student that is very open in who they are, especially sexually wise, they need to find an area or an institution that's going to nurture that. Same with Black identity or with Latino identity or whatever the case may be. I think that when students find a fit, because community is something that seems to be important throughout all these different theories, that could help. So I don't know, as admissions, if they could assist students in that way as well. But I'm running out of time. But I'm excited to talk about this in class and hear other people's opinions. I hope I made sense. I know it's kind of like all over the place, but thanks, Catherine, for the reading, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place.